Being in sales, because it's negotiation, can create a lot of high stress, high tension, and pressure. And as a sales rep, you aren't the only person that feels that. So does your prospect or your homeowner if you're in home service sales. And one of the most intense kind of conversations or feelings that you can have is dealing with the objection, hey man, you're being too pushy. This can be said in multiple ways, but there are signs and signals that a prospect gives you to be able to show you those signs. And in today's video, we are going through the full breakdown of 1, what it means when you're being too pushy, 2, how to pivot and make adjustments to be able to disarm your prospect, and real life examples of how it's happened and how you can make the adjustments from the things that we've learned kind of as an organization to be able to help you, be able to close deals, and be able to actually build relationships to where people feel comfortable with you. So when a customer says you're being too pushy, what does that actually mean?
Here's what I want everybody to understand. If the homeowner says you're being too pushy, then you're being too pushy. Here's why I say this, is because it is the homeowner's perception that leads everything. If it's their perception that you're being too pushy, then you are. Sometimes being too pushy, you can just be asking for the deal. So I don't want anybody to take this and say, oh my gosh, I am just pushing too hard. Because just asking for the job or asking for the deal sometimes can be too pushy for a homeowner. If you really are pushing hard, that's one thing. If you're perceived to be too pushy and you really don't think you are, then it's okay, but you still have to react in similar kind.
Well, I can tell from what you're saying is that when you're being too pushy, it doesn't always necessarily mean that it happens at the front end of a deal. It can happen toward the end when you're going to close.
Right.
Where do you think that break normally occurs?
It just depends on the homeowner. I've had it in the beginning. I've had it at the end. Most of the time, it's when price comes out. And remember that as soon as price hits the table, a lot of different feelings happen. Anxiety comes, it becomes a real thing inside this appointment. And so the stirring of feelings can seem like it's pushy, or that's how they perceive it.
Do you think that it's because of the amount of time spent on relationship building? Do you think that that's a factor?
Well, I will say spending time on relationship building can really dilute any pushiness, because if there is a relationship there, if you did a good job bringing some rapport, and there's only so many homeowners that actually like to have that rapport with you. Those directors or the thinkers, they don't really want to have rapport with you. This is business. And also for those people, being a little pushy is okay. Because again, they're not looking to be your friend anyway. But when you get into like the relators or the socializers, being pushy can be really problematic. Or it's on their way or understanding or their perception of what pushy looks like.
Have you ever got your ass handed to you by a homeowner from being too pushy?
Well, and again, I am not a pushy person. I've always realized that I'm just there to serve them. And so I've always been even keeled. But I have been accused of being pushy. I've also been trained to be pushy. When I first learned sales inside of home improvement, I was trained to be pushy. I've been told things, if you don't get kicked out, you're not trying hard enough. We don't get kicked out, we bail out. I've been taught all this stuff. And I didn't really agree with it because I don't like it when people are pushy with me. I really don't like it. Because when I buy things, I want it to be a good experience. The moment that they start pushing, because I have seen true, what we call rough and tumble sales. I've seen it in the house. I have not done it myself. that's just not who I am. But I've been in the room and it's rough.
Give me an example.
So of rough and tumble sales.
Not even just maybe with somebody else, but specifically like maybe when you first started off and you didn't necessarily know as much as you know now.
When we get in, we grow roots in the seat. We're not leaving. We're gonna get kicked out no matter what. Either we're going to sell or we're going to get kicked out. There are companies even today that still operate that way. It's crazy that they do. And there are sales reps that are comfortable with it. I am not. However, when they see this, they will just sit in silence if need be, or they keep asking the same question 10 or more times in just different ways, trying to get a different answer out of a homeowner. And you can just feel the tense pressure in the room, and it's coming from the homeowner. They get upset, or they will stand up and they do this. I think it's time for you to leave. And that is not fun to have that directed at you.
Have you ever had that happen?
Only when I was with another rep. That was very pushy. Yeah.
Tell me the story. Tell me this story, bro. Come on, man.
I won't say the guy's name.
Yeah.
He is a great sales rep. However, there have been times where, or in many cases, he can be to the point where, because he's taught the same way I was, that he's going to grow roots in that seat and he's going to do whatever he can to get that sale. And you can even feel, because the sales rep loses emotional intelligence. They start to get anxiety. They start to get frustrated. They physically get frustrated. And so this sales rep, as they were being told, well, we really just need to think about it. These are things that me and my wife need to discuss. And with the way that came out, it was power. The way that the husband was directing this to the sales rep said, this is stuff that me and my wife need to discuss. And we need to discuss this without you. And I'm sitting there, and typically you're looking at this and you're like, oh, this is going to get good. That's not what I was thinking. And I was thinking, where's the door? Because this guy's about to get violent.
He's about to grab the shotgun.
Yeah. And for me, I really don't like that in the house. I don't like it when it's done with me. Remember that people are inviting you in. They're giving you an opportunity to earn their business. And what you're going to do is berate them. You're going to make them look small. I mean, who does that? That is crazy. And what really burns me is that in some cases it actually works, because that's why sales reps that are poorly trained still do that. There are organizations that have that they're still trained to actually pitch this way. And I will tell you, I commend a homeowner that kicks a sales rep out in an almost violent way when a sales rep decides to do that. I will high five a homeowner, because I've seen, I won't go through the whole thing with it, but I've seen where they have taken the case and literally thrown it in the street. I have been in the house watching a sales rep go at a homeowner. The homeowner picks up the case, opens the door, and throws it so hard that it goes into the street.
What did he say to get him there?
Well, no, he kept at him. He kept pushing. And again, there's a way to ask for an order, but where a sales rep goes wrong is when they lose emotional intelligence, when when the sales rep emotions start to rise. You can see the sales rep get frustrated. You can see the sales rep start to get mad and start to project at the homeowner.
What's the wildest thing you ever saw a sales rep say in response?
I've seen a sales rep take his folder. Now, this was early on when it was a lot of paperwork. Yeah. Take his folder and throw it in the air inside the house. He says, I've been here for 3 hours and now you want to sit here and tell me, and threw it, and it went all over the kitchen. And I'm just sitting there as quiet as I can be. I have seen it was a cop, and he pulled a gun on the sales rep. I was sitting across, yeah.
Is that the same folder one?
No.
Different one?
This was a little bit different. I'm not going to say the company that I was riding with, but it was scary.
What do you have to say to get a gun pulled out on you?
And when I say gun pulled out, he took it out of his holster and he put it on the table, and he says, I've asked you three times to leave, and I'm going to give you that opportunity right now.
What did he say to get to that point? Because that's crazy.
He just kept asking me. He says, I don't understand why you wouldn't go ahead and just buy this. Why do you need to see 3 other estimates? And
God.
he just kept going and going. He was not leaving. And again, there are a lot of pushy scenarios out there. Now, again, remember that in some of the cases that I've been in, and even in my own, we've been very calm. We're in the middle of a presentation and the homeowner just flips out. I have had that myself. I was in a city named Trotwood here in Ohio, and it was just a nice husband and wife. When I showed up, nice looking home, I was selling a bath, and I did a full inspection. I came back. I was going through the presentation. There's a part of our presentation where we're asking them, and it's just a simple question of, so what do you think the most expensive way that you could get this job done? This lady didn't even answer. She goes from really nice and sweet, in a split second starts screaming at me. I don't think I've ever seen somebody get quite this mad. And I was just in shock. And I looked at the lady, I'm like, okay. She just flips out. She goes, why can't you just give me a price? And just screaming at me. And so I just took the sheet, I put a price. It wasn't even the price of the job. I think I wrote for a $9,000 bath. I think I put like $20,000 on the page because there was no way I was going to let them buy anything. Because I mean, this was insane. The way that this lady was coming at me. Oh my God. And her husband was just staring at her like, she does this. When I seen the husband, I realized that there was something medically wrong with the lady. And that's when I calmed down. I'm like, okay, this isn't a me thing, that either she was bipolar, I don't know. Because he walked me out and all he did was apologize. He says, I apologize for my wife. It happened. And I'm like, not a problem at all. It was a problem because to this day, I have never asked anybody that question. It is one of those triggers for me. And that's when I was still a sales rep. And I've been told many times that that's just one of the questions that you ask. I won't even ask my sales reps to ask that question.
What was the question?
What's the most expensive way you can get this thing done? And the answer is get it done twice. And most homeowners, they answer it and they're okay with it. But since the time that she came at me that way, I've never asked it and I've never trained that of another sales rep, and it's
being a little cheeky.
It's just one of those, it's like PTSD. Like I don't want that to ever happen to any of my sales reps, not that it ever would. But again, it's tough when something like that happens.
I think that's a very important thing to note when you're dealing with this objection of you're being too pushy, is there's more elements than maybe that the sales rep can't control.
Yeah.
Because this is a people business. And so it's not just you always. Of course you can set the tone, but what you can't set the tone is outside of like your control, like outside of things that are happening in their life. Maybe somebody went through, a loss in the family, or somebody's dealing with some sort of thing. Like you just can't foresee that. And so I think that's really important when you're looking at this objection, because there might be some factors that are outside of you. And that's why we teach always be in control of yourself. You can always lower your tone. You can always lower your heart rate. You can always just neutralize everything that you can control.
Yeah.
And so I think when we're looking at this objection, going in with the mindset of, oh, there's more things in this people game that go outside of me, and just be conscious of that.
Yeah.
Not beat yourself up over it. I will also mention that you mentioned that when the gun came out onto the table, that it was, I don't know why you need 3 estimates. If you're currently watching this video and you have run into being a little bit too pushy, or you've also run into the objection, I need to get 3 bids, or I need to get 3 estimates, or I need to get 3 prices from other companies, I want to take a moment to invite you guys to one of our videos that we just recently shot, which is I need to get 3 estimates. That's the video. We go through a full deep dive on that and how you can pivot when you are facing this objection so that you don't get called pushy and nobody pulls a gun out on it. Now we've talked about a little bit of the conditions of the objection. Let's go into what are some of the common mistakes that a rep makes after hearing this objection. So like what's normally the response that really just puts them off into the red zone? Let's just call it the red zone.
Typically when somebody says, hey, you're being too pushy, they want to justify it.
Yeah.
The sales rep wants to justify why they're being too pushy. The answer for us is we apologize, because you should. Because I'm in their home. The last thing I want to do is come in their home and have them feel like they're threatened in any way. When I first got into sales, I wanted to shop out a lot of companies. And we had a company out of Columbus, Ohio, that came out to our house. And I purposely sent my wife to the store because that's the easiest way to get out of a deal. Just so everybody knows, the easiest way to get out of a sale is send your spouse to the store. Because if you don't have everybody there, you can't make a decision. So it's so easy. And when the guy came out, he was a nice guy. He didn't do a real good job of presenting or any of that. But when it came down to making the decision, because I wouldn't make a decision, he got so irate that on his way out, he slammed the door so hard that it broke our glass. When you look at this, when somebody accuses you of being too pushy, just simply show the palms of your hands. It's like you're surrendering, okay? Hey, I am so sorry. Please don't mistaken my passion for pushiness. This is usually where I go into where I am just I'm a real roof geek. And so that's not my intention of making you feel like you're threatened or being pushed in any way. And just let the silence sit there.
What is the recover rate after that?
It's pretty high. I mean, as soon as you surrender, when they accuse you of something, you always surrender in the house. Remember, this is not your house. Yeah. This is theirs. They need to be able to feel comfortable inside their own house. They need to feel safe inside their own house. The worst thing that can happen is a salesman, and a woman on the other side of the table. She's a single woman, and she feels threatened. She doesn't know if she can get you out of the house.
Oh, yeah.
That is one of the worst scenarios that could ever happen.
I feel like in my home, if somebody was there with my significant other, I mean, I'd be thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do we get this guy out?
And then people wonder why they get porched.
Yeah.
Why the lady comes out and closes the door behind her. She's trying to, that maybe there's kids in the house or whatever, but she's protecting the house. Yeah. She doesn't trust you yet. We have to earn our way into the house. And once you do get into the house, sometimes just being there, they're gonna invite you into the house. And remember that this is their safe place. This is where they feel safe. If you cross that line, you should be dealt with in any way, shape, or form.
Do you think if the gun guy did that and ended up saying like, listen, I'm really sorry, was really passionate, do you think he would be on salvation, or do you think he would have been able to recover the relationship?
Well, I will say, as soon as that gun was put on the table, he did do this. And that I'm pretty sure it was out of just reflex.
Yeah.
I mean, a gun was put on the table. It's not like he pointed the gun at him. He put the gun, he says, I think it's time, or whatever it was. But the sales rep was done.
Yeah.
And I will also tell you, because the sales rep is a good guy, he's under pressure of his performance.
And in most cases, that's the situation, right? It's not like you're douchebag. It's just that, as we said in the beginning of this video, you are in a high pressure, tense type of exchange because you have to build trust quickly.
Yeah. And we say, save the homeowner, don't sell them.
Yeah.
Because when you come in, your job is to save them. You're saving them from other companies that could come in and high pressure close them. There is no need for high pressure. There is no need. And as of today, I'm going to tell you that even the high pressure companies are making the switch because their close rates are plummeting.
Would you say if you're in an organization that supports hard closing, is hard closing identified with a level of pushiness?
It is pushiness. That's the whole point of hard closing.
Yeah. So let's talk about the signals or moments in the conversation that lead up to this objection, right? What kind of signals that a rep can sees about to get to this objection of you're being too pushy? What kind of things happen, other than obviously, people going crazy in the house?
One of the easiest ways is their jaw tightens. The homeowner gets really tense. They're trying to hold themselves back. Or their face, well, this is easy, the face turns red, or they start looking down, they start looking around. What they're trying to do is calm themselves down. And I will tell you, it very seldomly ever works because it's coming out.
Yeah.
Again, you're backing them into a corner. What do you think's gonna happen? The other thing that will happen, and I think this is funny, is, you know what? Let's go ahead and get this thing done. Check? Heck yeah, I can write you a check. And the moment you walk out that door, they're calling and canceling the job.
Yeah, they're bouncing it.
One of the easiest ways to get a stupid sales rep out of your house that does hard closing is agree to them, buy, and then just cancel. Call in and cancel, and then go ahead and cancel the check so that the check can't be cashed. But if you don't feel comfortable kicking somebody out, just buy and make the point. I'm gonna tell you, if you are a homeowner and you're watching this and you really wanna make the point to that sales rep, is cancel the moment they close the door. Call up, cancel the job, let them know that I only bought to get this a-hole out of my house. The argument doesn't have to be made.
Yeah.
You don't need to sit there and argue with an idiot. And most sales reps that will do hard closing, they are morons.
And the point is to lead someone to a decision.
Yeah.
Not into like frustration.
Yeah.
Right. You're always supposed to be as a sales rep. You're a leader of diffusion and confidence. That's what you need to be.
That really is. When people come to Top Rep, and there's several sales trainers out there that we like to say are our biggest salespeople because they're still training hard closing. And we get the emails, we get the messages. Hey, I've been with this sales trainer for quite a while, and our sales staff, they're done with them. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, come on over, because they know that we teach low to no pressure selling, and we crush those other sales trainers.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of sales trainers that are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But there are still some out there that are very old school that still teach all the old stuff that doesn't work anymore. There's a lot of aged sales techniques that still do work. And we give them credit. I love the Brian Tracy stuff, some of the Zig Ziglar stuff. Most of it's old, but there are still some sayings out there that we enjoy using. But for the most part, sales has modernized, and the way that we talk in the house has changed as well. It's really softened because of the fact that, if you think that you're the only one in there as a sales rep that records, because maybe you use Ciro, Rilla, whatever, the homeowners are now recording.
And the one phrase we're not going to use is if you could spend the most amount of money on this.
What's the most expensive way you can get this thing done?
So let's recap. Basically, the indications that you are leading toward getting the objection, you're being too pushy, is one, you see the jaw clench, you see kind of frustration build up. They're not making eye contact anymore. You can see it in their face. These are signals that lead up to that. And then when the objection happens, one of the biggest things to do is to be able to make an apology. Make an apology, explain your passion, explain your purpose. That wasn't the intention anyway. You want to be able to disarm the homeowner because you were supposed to never get there to begin with, which is why, in our community, it's a pretty rare thing for people to get you're being too pushy because we don't teach that. But if you do, and even if you're outside of this community and you're dealing with hard, pressure sales, keep this in mind that your job is to diffuse. And your job is to create comfort and solid decision-making. We went through the signals, we went through what you need to say, and if you found this video helpful or you're currently part of an organization that is doing pressure sales or hard closing, go ahead and write a comment in the description below. We read all our comments. We would love to hear from you. If you've experienced this before, how we can help you pivot. Also, we'd love to hear your story, because at the end of the day, you're part of a community, you're part of the Top Rep community. And if you watch this channel, we see you, we hear you, and we're here to help you. So go ahead and drop that story in the comments section below and how you pivot during that objection. Also, a majority of you aren't subscribed, so I want to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Every single week, we are dropping new game on how you can grow as a sales rep to become the top rep that you were designed to be. And we're creating these videos for you. So at the end of the day, leave a comment on some of the things that you would like to see, or tell us some stories that you've experienced with this objection. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'm Manager Jon.
I'm Thokey.
We'll see you in the next one.